Cooperatives are different than regular corporations because they care more about than just making money. They have a set of principles in which allows them to operate caring about their community, caring about their employees, et cetera. And this is not a new principle. These were actually developed some 160 years ago in Rochdale, England, which is just north of Manchester. At that period of time, there were some textile workers that wanted to gain some power from the powerful corporations, and they actually formed a store, which allowed them to buy things cheaper and to share in the economics of the actual store. And when they developed the co-op, they actually set up a set of principles in which to operate. There's 7 cooperative principles, and they've been adjusted a little bit over the years, but for the most part, they have remained the same. The first one, open membership. In other words, it says that the co-op is open to anyone that wants to become a member, that's willing to accept the responsibility and operate within the guidelines of the co-op. The second is democratic control. One of the different things that that's different about a co-op is that the members actually control the co-op, and they're the customers. So the customers will actually have a say as to how the business is run, what sort of products are being sold, what sort of prices, what's available, et cetera. So there's that democratic control and ownership. And I think that you see a lot of issues that we have with corporations because they don't feel like they're accountable to anybody other than to the investors that actually invested money into the corporation. The members actually receive the benefits of the co-op, not based upon how much stock they have, and most co-ops do sell stock, membership shares, usually it's a nominal amount. But if, say, that store makes $100 and you contributed to 10% of the patronage of that store, you would get 10% of the profits. So the profits are distributed in a little bit different way. They're distributed based upon how much patronage is done with the co-op. The co-ops also believe heavily in education. One of the things that kept a lot of these textile workers poor, they lacked education. And so the co-op actually provided educational classes to its members after work upstairs in the co-op. And that has changed over the years to less as to educating in a general way and more education about the co-op itself. Co-ops are, next principle is autonomy, making sure that they're operating free of the government. And this is currently an issue in some countries because co-ops actually allow people to gain power. And not here in the United States, but throughout the world, federal governments will look at the co-op and they say, oh, we don't necessarily like sharing that power with this group of people. And so they'll tax a lot of times, or they'll start to put in regulations and stuff like that. So, there's a sense as far as the autonomy. Next principle is cooperation among co-ops. We're all in this together, and for us to succeed, we really need to work together. And then there's a concern for the community. Co-ops want to have a better community in which they operate in, and that's making sure that they consider all the stakeholders. That's the employees, the community at large, et cetera. And a lot of co-ops, as a result of that principle, also are involved in green movement. And at the National Cooperative Bank, one of the things that we're very proud of is our solar lending. We were a pioneer in lending to solar arrays around the country. And now we're very excited because we're starting to finance consumer-owned solar arrays. And it makes a lot of sense to the bank to have individuals, instead of putting the solar panels on their roof, which is not all that efficient, which may be a little bit leaky as far as some of the roofs, et cetera. Well, it's a good solution for many. Some people have trees that provide too much shade for their house. So it allows individuals to buy into community-owned solar co-op, basically a cooperative ownership of solar panel arrays, which allows for more efficiency, allows consumers to invest in the green economy, lower their tax bills, and we feel that we have helped to lower the cost of solar power. When we first started to lend into solar arrays, the cost per kilowatt was in excess of 30 cents. Today, the cost is around 4 cents a kilowatt hour. And we feel that co-ops and community ownership is one way to really broaden the ownership and participation of American consumers in solar power. Well, I think co-op principles play a multi-part role in the success of NCB. It first allows us to create a very positive culture here at the bank as far as being more than just a financial institution. Many people, especially the younger employees, really want to have work for an organization that has impact in their community. And our co-op principles allows us to do good things.